Welcome to Geek on Film with your host, Robbie Holmes. Welcome to episode 9 of season 3 of Geek on Film. I'm Robbie, and this week we're going to have a big double main review because I was able to see 2 current films in the theater. Let's start off with a review of Red Rooms, a film I was so excited to watch. It was the first thing I saw post Oscars. I had been waiting. I bought the Vinegar Syndrome 4K of this movie. I've been waiting for it, and it had been waiting on a shelf for me until I got through everything having to do with the Oscars this year. Let's jump over to IMDb. It says that the summary for this film is a model becomes obsessed with a high-profile murder trial. Boy, does that not do this justice. My review over on Letterboxd is 4.5 stars. I'm still processing this film. I think that still stands. It is a film that I expect will live rent-free in my head for a long time. Juliet Garelpi is so able to hold the audience in her steely, unwavering gaze with a truly intense and overwhelming sense of infatuation and compulsion and staring deeply into my soul. I wrote a full review of this movie over on Geek on Film. It moved me so much. It is really unbelievable. It jumped last year into the, I believe, 4th position for my films of 2024. It is Anora, Brutalist, Nosferatu, Red Rooms, Challengers, Flow, Nickel Boys, Dune, Conclave, Remarkable Life of Evelyn. That's my top 10. It was a surprise. I will say that Adam Naiman had talked about this as his favorite film of the year. Adam Naiman is a critic that I feel like often hits the right chord of what he cares about in cinema, and him and I have very similar feelings about the things that he gets excited about. I seem to get excited about. So Adam isn't, I would say Adam is a critic that I align with very heavily. He had listed it in his best films of 2024 article, and then they did a whole video essay of it over on the Ringer Movies channel. You should check it out. Adam is a brilliant reviewer, and I can't hold a candle to what he is doing, but he is a critic beyond some of the others I follow. This movie is actually the film that is following a couple of people who are seemingly enamored with, obsessed with a potential serial killer who killed his victims, who were between the ages of 13 and 17, and they're young women, on a live stream in what we considered what they call a red room, which is a live stream on the dark web where people watch him basically create live snuff films. I felt like this movie was indicting all of us who were watching it in really unique and interesting ways. That is why in my review, I referenced the fact that she is staring directly into my soul. It is like it's like questioning why we're watching it while we're questioning why she's watching it. It's really the meta-textual nature of this film, and how I was reviewing it and how I felt about it was unbelievable. I haven't had that experience. And I really think if you haven't seen Red Rooms, it is a movie that is going to challenge you. It is not an easy sit. I will give you the last paragraph of my review online. I will leave you there and comment on why this film skyrocketed to my top 10 of 2024. The film will stick with me forever. The cinematography is the domain of Vincent Byron, and the production design is handled by Laura Neum. Together, they have created a haunting and beautiful scenes and a sense of palpable dread. The true heart of this film is its restraint. That is directly in the hands of the writer-director of Pascal Plante, who never tips his hand or gives into the instinct that the audience needs to see the horrors of this film, but rather uses all of the tools in his toolbox to leave the horror to the imagination of the viewers. In a more just and honest world, this film would have been nominated for as many as 10 Academy Awards last night and walked away with over half of them. I know that this film is challenging and tough subject matter, but the film is one of the treasures of 2024, and you won't be disappointed if you watched it. Hope you give it a chance. Going to leave it there. I would say it is not an easy film in any sense of the word. It's not easy to find. It's not available streaming online. You can PVOD it. I think the experience I had with the Vinegar Syndrome disc was unbelievable. I think it's beautiful. It's it's worth the time, energy, and effort it took to watch this film. Next up, I'll talk about September 5. It was a film from last year that was possibly in the Oscars run for a little while and just didn't land. Our friends over at IMDb have it as during the 1972 Summer Olympics in Munich, Germany, an American sports broadcasting team must adapt to live coverage of the Israeli athletes being held hostage by a terror group. Let's jump over to my review of this film over on Letterboxd. I said better done and more effective than I expected. Lots of actors doing rock solid work. The directing and storytelling is really good. I give it 4 out of 5 stars. It's the type of film I feel like we saw more in the 90s. It's a sort of practical, adult driven drama with a group of people who are solving a problem. I was truly amazed multiple times by people in this moment trying to figure out how do we get the audio to be available on live TV? How do we capture this? What are we going to do to get past security? Everything was this really interesting take on we have a problem in front of us and we're smart people and we will figure it out. Without saying we're smart people that will figure it out. It was dedication of people who are just professionals doing what needs to be done and figuring it out in the moment in a way I haven't seen on film in a while. And I feel like this is the type of film we don't see very often anymore. September 5 was written by Mortiz Binder, Tim Fellbound, Alex David, and directed by Tim Fellbaum. It stars, and it really doesn't matter what characters they're playing, but it is more important to get all of the cast members in this list. Peter Skarsgård, John Majaro, Ben Kaplan, Leona Bench, Zeldine Solim, Georgina Rich, Corey Johnson, Marcus Rutherford, Daniel Addison, Benjamin Walker. Overall, they all play interesting pieces of the pie. They're like components in a chessboard. And I would say every one of them does a great job in the role they're being asked to do. The shout out for me would be Leona Benash as a person I saw in Teacher's Lounge last year. She is fantastic in this role. And John Majaro, I will watch in anything. I feel like he is the secret sauce to taking a film from a B- to an A- without even batting an eyelash, always. It's available on Paramount Plus and is available for premium VOD. Next up, Late Night with the Devil. This is a film I've been really interested to check out. I would say that I am horror curious. As you can look at my diary inside of Letterboxd, I've been watching more and more horror films. I don't think I'm into gore films or like overly gory films. Not really like, I'm going to carve a person apart or anything. I don't really like torture-y type films, but I am interested in these conceptual horror films, is the way I would put it. And I feel like this falls into that with abandon. Our friends over at IMDb have it as a live television broadcast in 1977 goes horribly wrong, unleashing evil into the nation's living rooms. My review, I gave it 3 stars and a heart over on Letterboxd. I really enjoyed the tone of this film. David Desmalchin as the host of the 1970s talk show and Ingrid Torley as Lily is great. I think it tried to explain too much in the end, and that hurt the finale of the film. This movie was written by Colin Carnes and Cameron Carnes, and it was directed by them also. David Desmalchin plays Jack Delroy, who is a talk show host on a show that has been waning in its reviews and is possibly going to be canceled. And then we get led to Laura Gordon playing June Ross Mitchell, Ian Bliss playing Carmichael Haig, Fazil Basil playing Christu, Ingrid Torelli is playing Lily, who is the little girl who comes on the show that may or may not be possessed. We've Reese Autori playing Gus McConnell, who is his sidekick and is fantastic in this movie. And really just everyone doing a really good job in the middle of this film, right? Like there are these people who are playing these major characters, and then there's this dips in and out of these other people. I would say that I was really impressed with what is happening in this film and how it's handled. There's so many subtly well done things. I love the sort of nuance of how it's shot. I think the episodic nature of it, feeling like it's found footage from this episode of this television show. But in the end, like I said in my review, I feel like it's trying too hard to tie everything up in a bow. There is a lot of individual storylines. There are a lot of details that feel like it's putting a hat on the hat. I don't need to know exactly why Han Solo's name is Han Solo. That's what it feels like this film is doing. It's trying to tell us exactly the reasons why this may or may not be metaphysical. It may or may not be demons. It may or may not be a cult. It may or not, like, there's just too many things here. If they had just pared it down to the film footage of what we saw on that night, I think you could have had a like really unbelievable like 87-minute film, and it would have been so much fun to see that. And if they just presented it as that without any of the background, without any, I think we would have gotten a lot further. It would have almost felt like a modern Blair Witch. This movie is available on Hulu or Disney Plus, depending on where you're located. It's also available on Premium VOD. All right, we're up to our main reviews. The first main review will be of Opus. So, Opus, according to IMDb synopsis, is a writer travels to a compound of a pop icon who disappeared years ago, surrounded by his cult of sycophants, as well as a group of fellow journalists. She soon discovers his twisted plans for the gathering. For me, I gave this 3.5 stars and a heart over at Letterboxd. My review was an amazing debut. Io Atterbury is fantastic, and John Malkovich chews the scenery and embodies the elite level aging rock star. The script and the pacing are a bit uneven, but the film is really good. P.S. The music is great and probably should be in a conversation for next year's awards season. This movie was written by and directed by Mark Anthony Green, who is a person who used to be a journalist in the music industry. So it makes a lot of sense. It feels like it's right up their alley. They have a good handle on this world and how it works. Io Atterbury plays Ariel Ecton. John Malkovich plays Alfred Moretti, who is the aging star. The other people that are brought to his compound are Juliette Lewis, Clara Armstrong, who has a sort of gossipy show on television. Murray Bartlett is Stan Sullivan, who is also a music journalist, who is Ariel's boss. We have Melissa Chambers playing Bianca Tyson, who is paparazzi, like high level paparazzi person. And Stephanie Shiganami playing Emily Katz, who's an influencer who's brought there. And last would be Bill Lotto, played by Mark Severinsen, who is someone who was in a band with him, had a disagreement. I believe it was sort of past. He's there for a short period of time, not to bring any spoilers into this, so you don't spend a ton of time understanding what he is trying to accomplish. Tony Hale plays Soledad Yustef, who is the manager of Alfred Moretti. It is a really fun movie. I think Io Atterbury has the ability to play the eyes and the conscience of the audience in a really unique way. She embodies the sort of I don't get it attitude that you often feel but won't say, and she's willing to say. And I think John Malkovich, as sort of an amalgamation maybe of like Elton John, I'm trying to think of who else, maybe Prince. It's really an interesting character he gets to play. And I even joke in my review that he's sort of chewing the scenery. He is, when he arrives, he's so caricature-esque in what he's doing. And he has a group of followers that are into everything he's doing. So it feels like it's just probably pushing the character of Moretti to be bigger, to be more interesting, to be more different. I won't give away the premise of the film. I think the reality here is you have really good actors doing really good work. I think that the film is a little uneven in its handling of how things change and switch over time. The tone doesn't, it feels like it doesn't match up. There's some very dramatic components and a little more violent that are not the way that the rest of the film is handled. but I had a good time. I definitely had my heart rate elevated a couple times, which I was expecting, but wasn't, is the way I would put it. It was, it was a little bit more of a questioning film than an answers film. I think it lays out the world and you're left a little behind the curve, which I kind of liked. The reason I would say I will buy some stock in Mark Anthony Green going forward is I was not out ahead of this movie. I spent a lot of time going like, "Oh yeah, that's obvious," and then realizing like, "Nah, it's not as obvious as I thought." And I think that's a testament to what he's able to pull off. But I think that as a debut film, our friends over at Film Spotting do what they call the Golden Brick. I think this makes sense as a Golden Brick nominee, which is a first time or an early in their career filmmakers sort of shine a spotlight on the work that they're about to do, or they because they've done this work, we expect them to do more great work. And I think this could be a really amazing calling card for Mark Anthony Green. We're going to jump over to the final review today, and that is the second main review, which is Black Bag. IMDb has the summary as when intelligence agent Catherine Woodhouse is suspected of betraying the nation, her husband, also a legendary agent, faces the ultimate test of whether to be loyal to his marriage or his country. I would say it's, it makes this movie sound very generic. This is written by David Cope and it is directed by Steven Soderbergh. My review of it over on Letterboxd is 4 stars with a heart. I said this is a crisp and taut script written by David Cope with a unique and distinct ensemble. This film is smart, adult, and more than anything interesting. Soderbergh is so in control of the camera, the edit, and our experience as the audience. The framing of every second is dynamic, and most scenes are two folks talking, but it feels like an action movie. You've got Michael Fassbender playing George Woodhouse, Kate Blanchett playing Catherine St. Jean. You have Gustav Skarsgård playing Philip Machim. You have Tom Burke playing Freddie Smalls. Melissa Abello playing Clarissa DeBose. Rajon Page playing Colonel James Stokes. Naomi Harris playing Dr. Zoe Vaughn. And last but not least, we'll talk about Pierce Brosnan playing Arthur Stiglitz. This movie is, again, another sort of throwback film. It feels to me like a film we would have seen a lot in the 90s, or the type of film we would have seen in the 90s. I think the key here is Soderbergh. I think Soderbergh has created something that visually is appealing. I think the casting person for this movie deserves all the credit because the cast is unbelievable. So Carmen Cuba, good on you. Pretty amazing casting in this film. Having your cast include Kate Blanchett, Michael Fassbender, and a couple of people that we have seen in a lot of other things that are on their way up. I would call out Marissa Abello is fantastic in this movie. She is whip smart, fun, and able to hold her ground with Michael Fassbender. I've been so excited to see what she's doing. I'm a big fan of her work on Industry. And I think that this movie really just tells everybody that everyone at this table belongs in every film, and most of them could possibly headline a film. Naomi Harris as Dr. Zoe Vaughn is fantastic. She is smooth and cool and collected in a way that her character should be, but Naomi like embodies that in this film. And Rajon Page is so cool and collected until he's not, and he's so handsome and charming. And Michael Fassbender is so steely and unbelievable in this movie. He's precise and it comes down to not just the way he carries himself, but his choice of words, his clothing, every aspect of his life is this crispness. And Kate Blanchett just sort of almost like a dancer walking through her life here. Catherine St. Jean is just this elegant and beautiful, confident, and she just embodies cool, like in a way that I would hope she is all the time. But Kate has just slipped into into the skin of this character and makes it feel so real. I came home and said, I don't know that Kate Blanchett has ever been more attractive. I think she is So smooth, from the clothing to the hair choice to the way she moves around the room to the dialogue she's given to I think Kate playing Catherine St. Jean is fantastic, and I think she steals the movie away from everybody else who's doing such a great job. But I will take a look and a smirky comment from Catherine to steal away from a table full of amazing actors. The last person I'll mention is Tom Burke. I think he does not get enough credit as an actor. He plays Freddie Smalls in this movie, and I think he is a chameleon who makes every film he's in better. He is Praetorian Jack and Furiosa, and he just has this ability to be anything that a director needs, is the way I would put it. You should see this movie in theaters. I gave it 4 stars. It is so close to being a 4.5 star film, in my opinion. I think as of right now, it is my top two films in the narrative space are Plain Clothes that I saw at Sundance, and Black Bag would be number two. And then there are two documentaries that I think come before this. But right after that is Presence. And I think I would just call out that Soderbergh is having a heck of a 2025. I am so impressed with what he's pulled off with these two films, and they couldn't be more different. And they're both sort of tone poems of the type of film he's making. This one being a sort of mystery spy film, and Presence being a ghostly, poltergeisty family drama. They're very different from one another. They're shot differently. They're edited differently. That's the other thing I wanted to call out is like, we know that Soderbergh writes, often directs, edits, and is his own cinematographer and puts down different names. I believe his mother's name is used for one of them. I mean, whatever it is, right? Like the editing of this film is so unbelievable. The choices of every framing of this film. I say it in the review that so much of this film is just two people talking, yet it feels like we're in a war film, or it feels like we're in the middle of an action adventure film. And that is really a sentiment of where the camera is put, how dynamic the camera is and its movement, and then how the scenes are being edited together. So really, really unbelievable, and an unreal accomplishment for Soderbergh. I would love to have the Academy, if they can't figure out how to give him an award for this film, to give him an award for being one of the people who's like, maybe we need to create a new category of like auteur, or, you know, person who takes on every role in their film. He has this ability to understand exactly what he's trying to get at, and you can see the final vision he had in his head because he directed it, edited it, and shot it. And I think there's something very unique about that. I think last year we saw that, you know, Sean Baker was recognized in that way. And I think with Sean, you would have even gotten a possible casting award nomination if the casting award existed, and it will be here in 2026. All right, last thing, go see this film. It's currently in theaters. Please see it. These are the types of films we would like. We often say we want adult cinema dramas that exist. This is one of those films. Go see it, support it. Hopefully we'll get more of it. You could not go wrong spending 2 hours with this ensemble. I'm going to stop it there. It's been so fun to get back in the groove and to watch these films. Please rate and review these films wherever you're listening to this, especially Spotify and Apple Podcasts would be really helpful. I'm Robbie the Geek everywhere online. Go to geekonfilm.com. If you're looking for our socials, they're usually geekonfilm.com because somebody's squatting that handle. But feel free to track us down. Talk to me wherever you'd like. I'd love to hear your opinions. I'd love for you to tell me I'm right or wrong. But please rate and review this if you get a chance. Thank you so much for sticking through to the end. Have a great day. Up next, I don't know. Isn't that exciting? Stick around. Pay attention to what comes in your feed. Thanks. Have a good day. Bye-bye. This has been a Geek on Film podcast. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.